Hello, scientists who are associated with the Sea Grant program at the University of Maryland. I welcome you to my little presentation here about some of my work and background in terms of collaboration. And that's a picture of me there on the right-hand side. And on the left, I have a little bit about what I've done with my practice as an artist. So you can kind of read through that and get an idea of what I've done in the past. But before I talk about anything, I wanted to talk first about experiences I've had in the past. And from 1997 to 1999, I worked with an organization called Experiments in Art and Technology. And I was working as an editor and also an assistant to a producer to take these historic films made in 1996 of collaborations between art and engineers for the event that they did in New York City called 9 Evenings Theater and Engineering. And if you want to know more about that, about what they did, I have a link here for you to click, which will take you to their Wikipedia page. So more about E.A.T, as it's known. I worked specifically with Billy Klüver and Julie Martin and became familiar with the work that E.A.T had done via Billy's association with Bell Labs, where he was an engineer. And the artists that they worked with over the years were several, actually many different New York artists at the time. And here's a list of them right there. And you can click on this link for more information here about E.A.T. Also included their early philosophy of E.A.T right here, where they state, maintain a constructive climate for the recognition of the new technology and the arts by a civilized collaboration between groups unrealistically developing in isolation, etc., so forth. So that's a bit of a kind of a philosophy and perhaps a manifesto. This was a signature project that they had done for the Expo 70 in Osaka, Japan, in their Pepsi Cola pavilion, which was sponsored by Pepsi Cola. So you can also click on that link to learn more about it. And now I'm just going to go into two projects where I collaborated with, an artist and then also some other artists, but we used technology to kind of understand what we were doing. This is the Frozen Car project that I did with the artist Mary Carothers, and it was, we were investigating climate change in North America and questioning society's dependence on mobility. Not nobility. We directed this project to address themes of ice and time. And we did this at Michigan Technological University in Houghton, Michigan, which is on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And we brought up a 1978 Chevy Nova that we were going to turn into a block of ice to kind of talk about, topics such as if, in the 70s, if we had kind of paid attention to what was happening with the climate, perhaps, maybe we could have cryogenically frozen that space in time and we wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have today. And that was kind of the artistic philosophy behind the project. Here's an image here of the 78 Nova before we froze it. And while we were there, we we were talking about what we wanted to do with this car. And it wasn't until that we met with Will Cantrell, who was a physics professor at MTU at the time. He told us, what we intended to do would be impossible, right? We wanted a solid block of ice. So that actually changed our vision a lot, but we took it to heart, and what we did was we actually used blocks of ice that we found from a project that was unrealized during this festival, this winter carnival that they were having up there at MTU. And so the blocks of ice were donated to us. And the interesting thing about that was that it reflected the kind of the industry around there in terms of the geology of the place, right? So we went to a mineral museum that they have up there, and we saw all these copper formations that actually had crystals growing on them, and we thought, this really addresses this place. So it was thanks to the the expertise of the physics professor that we changed our direction and actually came up with something really interesting and related to the area. And here is a more closer image there of the car frozen in ice. And again, you can click on this link to learn more about that project. And another project I wanted to talk about is a sculpture that I created in 2020. It's a 50-foot, sculpture done by, I had, of course, had to collaborate with a fabricator, but in this instance here, I collaborated with a communications professor at American University, and his team created a QR code that allowed us to send predictions created by the female artists involved in this project. And the reason why it was predictions was that Kay Sage was herself a surrealist painter, and the surrealists were really invested in magic, etc., so forth. And so with this QR code that was, it's featured near the sculpture, we were able to create predictions that were sent to participants' phones. So, and you can actually text it right now, that number there, 703-420-1437, and just say hello to that number there in a text message, and you will start to get more information about the sculpture, and then eventually it will lead you into getting a prediction. So I thank you very much for watching. Again, here's my website if you want to learn more about me, and I am really interested in what I can learn from all of you. So thank you very much.